Hi, Tom Walls, Carbide Processors. Want to talk about how to replace stump grinder tips, particularly this shape, which are often called a thumbnail because they're sort of thumbnail shaped. Anyway, here's what you do. You need three things. You need a tip. You need some black flux. This is our mega flux. You need black flux and you need a brazing flux, not a soldering flux. You need a brazing flux. You also need what's technically called a pokey stick. This is an old file, just an old file. I'll explain in a minute. Okay, you take the old tip off. Assume that it sits something like this. What you do is you heat it up with a torch. Oxyacetylene, acetylene will work. Propane or butane can work if you build a little box with fire bricks, but you're better off figuring that you need oxyacetylene or acetylene. You heat up the old tip, and when it gets hot enough, you hit it like that and you flick it off, because it won't float off and it won't fall off when it gets hot enough. You have to take something and flick it off. Okay? Then you pull the torch away. You can put a brand new tip in the same notch that the old tip came out of. The old flux, or the old braze alloy, and the new braze alloy will mix together. This is technically a braze filler metal because it fills gaps. It's a braze alloy because it melts at a high temperature, above 800 degrees Fahrenheit. Other temperatures are used. It is sometimes called a high silver solder or just silver solder. It is not really a solder. Solder melts at low temp. This melts at a high temp. Anyway, you take the flux, the black flux, and you put a coating right in here where you're going to put the new saw tip. So you put the black flux over the old braze alloy. A little bit on the edges won't hurt. What the flux does, it's a cleaner and it's an oxygen interceptor. It keeps the oxygen away from the braze alloy. If the oxygen gets to the braze alloy, it will not flow and melt out. It will burn. You may get a partial joint, but it's going to be a very bad, very weak joint. And you need black flux, a brazing flux. So you put that, you put the flux here, you put your new part in where you want it. Then you start heating it with the torch. Heat through the carbide. The carbide and the steel have different rates of growth when they're heated, different rates of thermal expansion. Roughly, the steel will grow 2 to 5 times. You see a lot of different figures. Figure the steel is going to grow 2 to 3 times as much as the carbide. If you put the carbide in there, that helps. What you do then is you heat it up, and it should be a dark cherry red to a cherry red, no orange, no yellow. You don't want it too bright. What you're going to see, there's a layer. We sell these pre-tin. That's what the gold is. It's a layer of braze alloy. There is a layer of braze alloy on there. When you put that on there into the flux notch and it gets hot enough, the braze alloy will melt. Then you use your pointy stick, whatever. Ceramic's better. An old file will work. You see it used all the time. And you guide the tip. Well, you do better than that. You can always start over. But anyway, then you use this to guide the tip gently into exactly where you want it. Then you pull the torch away slowly. And you leave it alone. You do not push the tip in. That's like a new guy who wants to tighten a bolt, and he tightens it so tight that he twists the head off. We sell these pre-tinned for a couple of reasons. It's a real convenience for our customers. It saves you money. We get our braze alloy, we buy it 300 ounces at a time. Pay a damn fortune for it, but we get it cheaper than our customers do. We put a carefully calculated amount on here. With braze alloy, the thinner the braze joint, the stronger it is. the stronger it is this way, the thinner it is. The thicker the brace joint is, the more it will resist impact. So if you're grinding stumps and hitting rocks or something, you want that cushioning layer in here. That is why you take this part, the pre-tin part, you put it in here on top of the flux, you heat it up, and then you let it you let them melt together, and you pull the heat away slowly. You can use the pointy stick, whatever you use, to guide it a little bit right into exactly where you want it, but that's it. You don't push it down, because then you push all the braze alloy out the sides. You waste the braze alloy. You don't have that cushioning layer to protect the tip when it hits it. And that is just about it. If you have any questions, please feel free to call us. We also have a flyer we're going to send out with the same information, and it will be in our blog post. Thank you. Bye.